Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching Batwoman Season 2, Episode 13. I'll give you a clue. Very intriguing. Is that going to be something that Cersei says to... Cersei... I don't know how to pronounce it. I never know how to pronounce that. Kirky in the ancient Greek. Says to Alice about, like... No, of course I don't want her to figure out who she is. I don't know. The last episode was insane. We finally, tragically, have Kate back, although we still don't have Kate back. Alice is in the clutches of Black Mask and his daughter, who is really Kate. I don't agree with Ryan's decision, but I do not think it invalidates her being Batwoman. I think it was a mistake that I hope she will come to look back on and realise that maybe she could have done better. But I don't think that making a mistake, especially a mistake when it comes to like a mass murderer, is something that could completely invalidate her. Kate made mistakes, Bruce made mistakes, everyone makes mistakes. And I do hope that ultimately Ryan comes to reflect on that and realises that maybe it wasn't the right call, because it definitely wasn't. Although I do think that probably if she'd stayed to fight, there's a good chance that they'd both have been captured. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about now. I just got a lot of comments about that. So yeah, reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. And let's go.
Tell me how you did it.
Please.
I must know.
You have the rest of your life in here to figure it out.
Interesting. That doesn't look like a person. Or if it is, it's like a dead person he's already killed. Oh, no, yep, he was still here. Wonderful.
Hands in the air.
Ugh, this dick.
Back to...
I want to know why you guys suck.
And here we go.
It's not just because you don't hear about 99% of the people in the city, or just because you lie and you cheat and you cover up murder.
Ryan.
It's because you legit suck at your job.
5 seconds until we shoot.
I put a trap.
Why would you shoot her?
I acted like I was the enemy and they gave me time to do this.
I love Ryan. And like, really, they're gonna shoot her when she wasn't currently fighting them? Like, that tells you what's wrong with the crows there and then. Oh great, so he's gonna take some snakebite in the open in the park he used to bring his children to. I know he's a grieving man who's addicted, but Jacob.
Tonight you brought a friend. Batwoman.
Friends?
You were working with her.
Stab me in the back. But you know what? It's my fault.
Alice, you're a serial killer.
Happy until Alice is behind bars. But you know what really irks me?
I'm the one doing the torturing here, not you. Give me your name so I can destroy
Oh, Alice.
destroy my business.
That eludes me.
You're lying.
Look, Alice, you don't know her name. Or you know Cora's name, so maybe you do know her name. I really don't want to watch this, if it's gonna happen. Oh god, no.
One drink.
Come on, you know Mary.
On an airplane.
Oh. Mary!
That one. Never have I
Oh.
ever compromised my values to support a white supremacist organization. Drink. Ooh, this is not working.
No. Hang on.
It's not. But they have fundamentally different views.
Never have I ever.
Oh, the OG. Makes more sense. Why does it make more sense?
Because you are Batwoman.
Ryan, why would it make absolutely no sense for the new Batwoman to have saved you?
You're all very drunk.
It's okay.
Normal moth. Genus Megalopeach.
Sophie should have been told that her...
Venomous caterpillars in the world.
Oh, no. Love. Clue Master.
Good times.
Clue Master again?
He believes I'm the only person who's ever solved one of his puzzles, and it's driving him.
How did you
crazy.
solve it?
Well, it's time to solve another one. Alice, Beth.
Oh.
Hello.
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 Oh god, Alice, wrong night to call him. This is actually a huge moment that she called him. That she was trusting him to potentially come and save her. And yet again, she was let down.
I don't need a boost.
You'll be fine.
Because she knows you're Batwoman. You've got to figure that out by now. I love that Sophie's totally okay with bringing 2 civilians along on this. Obviously, they need help.
He doesn't come naturally. Someone who begged me to keep her identity a secret.
Okay, so if you wanted to be kept
So I
secret,
did.
that's very Sophie.
This will come as a shock to you, but I can be trusted.
She can.
It's an antihistamine. That's poison.
I was literally about to say, do not pick that up.
Stephanie Brown, Cluemaster's daughter.
Oh my god.
Bird, bobcat, fly, and this spider.
Bobcat, that's a puma, which means it comes after flies.
Bobcat, which means it's
Oh god.
You would have bet her life on it.
food chain. They are in pecking order. Okay, so
Mhm.
bobcat eats bird,
Bobcat Puma.
eats spider, and
Unless you have some sharpshooting skills.
Come on, my love. They just thing is this distrust and annoyance with each other. It goes too deep, but I think we can get to a friendship through it.
I don't think he's fun.
Oh no. God, just leave your kid out of it. I mean, don't get an innocent person involved either, but
Last person.
she knows Cersei died.
The court for Bigwick. Did you get those horrific burns before?
Come on,
or
is she gonna eventually piece it together? I suppose she's got enough clues if she can find proof that she's dead.
touchy subject?
No idea he'd become so obsessed with you.
It's not your fault.
Hold up.
She's the one that
You
solved
were
it.
the one who solved Cluemaster's puzzle back. My technology protects Wakanda.
Your name is Shuri?
Ah, you think it'd be as easy as kissing a frog?
What is happening?
No idea. I think it's on Nerds Flirt.
I will keep working this angle. We'll go see if he's there.
Okay. Teamwork, stressed times.
show yourself.
Oh god. Are they on a pressure plate?
We're standing on an explosive pressure plate.
Mm-hmm.
Rate sensitive, you step off, it blows.
Have I got your attention?
Uh-huh. I wonder if she'll be a recurring character or if this is the one time we'll see her.
The playfair's over?
Because she could be good for Luke.
Hunt my freshman year. School was a decoy.
Okay, so where is
Mm-hmm.
it?
I'm really sorry, Luke.
We are ready. Hit me with it.
Guys, you're standing on a bomb still.
Colgate the Doctor's ass. B.
I read about it in the paper.
For this episode
Oh.
Quiz
Oh, Batwoman. She could get us out of this?
Yeah, because that's a possibility.
Oh.
How would we even get a hold of her?
So you just Gotham's most illustrious skin seamstress. I make faces. Human faces.
Ooh.
If you want your
Sophie's right.
Alice is really resourceful at getting herself out of situations. It's how she survives.
That's the one refusing to trust me.
Why would I trust you?
Because not trusting me means you both die. I will never trust a crow, especially you.
I know you're Batwoman, Ryan.
What?
She trusts her. Kate trusted her. She's a crow, which isn't great.
There's a necklace on the shelf. I have the red and black baton.
Smart choice.
We're trusting Sophie fully now. She knows where the Batcave is. Ryan, I know she's a crow.
It explains what. And I know how awful they were to you.
Mhm.
But we're standing on a bomb. Then trust a legitimately good person. So thank God Sophie knew
Trust
we
the
were
people
Batwoman, 'cause now
you
we
love.
actually have a chance at not dying.
You care about Mary. You trust Mary. Mary says Sophie is not your average crow. Sophie's having a great old time in the Batcave. Actually insane just seeing Sophie having a little time in here.
Then why did I spend the last 5 years behind bars?
Because I put you there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your puzzle in the Gazette. I solved it. I spoiled you. You're going back to prison.
Oh, why did you do this? Why didn't you just call the police and tell them you were going there? Or go with Luke? Why? I know you wanted to have a showdown with him because everything's put you through and done and to finally let him know, but ugh. Oh, Luke. Is he killing them both?
What are you doing, Dad? Tonight, an interrupted girl talk between you and Sophie.
We need this honesty.
Talk to me.
Thinks my dad's on snakebite.
What?
Can you blame him for wanting to escape off?
Mary is such an empathetic, good person.
Sophie just wants to see me happy.
Sophie has made some bad choices in the sense of joining the Crows, but
Well, let's just hope she wants to see you alive.
The big stage door, open it all the way and take cover. What are you gonna do? Go!
Oh, yep. Holy crap. Mary.
You can trust me.
Oh. Thing is, I can totally get why Ryan just does not trust her with every fibre of her being. And yet I hope that she's going to be able to prove...
Live in a world where I was smarter than...
Now, is this going to be a one episode thing, or is this going to be a thing for Luke? Because I like Luke and Mary, but this is also cute. Luke. Oh, you overdosed? Her last family member.
Because we both know a few days ago you thought Ryan Wilder was an ex-con without a future.
And I'm here to
They
say
both have education to do. I mean, Sophie has a lot of education to do, Ryan has a lot of trust to build.
I erased the one case file it could be traced back to. Ryan Wilder. I hope this is a start.
A start is what we need. And I think it's really interesting the two different backgrounds they come from. And Sophie is grappling with the truth of the crows, but she's just doing it privately.
You don't.
Are you sure this is really what you want, Cersei?
I want to be me again.
Can Alice twig that she's not Cersei?
No, because I was one of the inmates who stepped over her dead body on my way out the door.
Yep.
Has brown eyes, and yours, my dear, are blue.
Has she figured it out? Oh my god, that went on very quick. Very quick.
You.
She recognises her.
Your eyes. You have our father's eyes. Kate.
Yes! I just need someone to be thinking that's gay. That's all I need in my life. Okay, I absolutely loved this episode for so many different reasons. I think I'll start off with the Sophie plotline, finding out that, you know, her first case, I think that kind of got her up the ranks was because she got this tip line, but she's proved it with her skill at being a crow time and again, and the fact that she is a fair judge. She is not a dirty, bad cop, but the problem with the real life police forces is that, yeah, there will be people who are good apples, but the good apples do not report the bad apples. You know, the culture of the police forces and things like the crows is protect our own. So, you know, if a good apple speaks out against a bad apple, they get shunned rather than it being the other way around. Sophie has obviously got a lot to deal with. Now, in terms of justifying the crows, obviously last season she was coming to terms with who she is, but now she is proudly stating, as a lesbian, she is totally comfortable with who she is. She has figured out that, yeah, she's definitely not bi, that was fully just a cover. I mean, maybe she'll identity and things like that, sexuality can be different, you can kind of come to a different understanding of that over time, but I'm really proud of where she's come through on that front. But what she's really grappling with this season is the truth of the crows, and Ryan is the perfect character to kind of force her into that realisation all the time, both as Batwoman and now that she knows everything as Ryan. Ryan has a sort of counter problem in the sense that the crows have done terrible things to her. She has seen firsthand the fact that the crows ignore most people. You know, they only care about the rich people. The fact that the crows screw people over, plant evidence, fake crimes, that there is a very dark undercore of an organisation. I mean, that undercore exists in real policing forces, let alone in a police force designed to and paid for by the rich. She has seen that the system does not always work, and Sophie has been the person that has been there. She's kind of dealings with her when she was on the other side of things. So I don't in any way blame Ryan for not trusting Sophie. I do kind of wish this episode she'd come to it sooner, though it all worked out. And I think what Ryan largely needs to kind of think about is, A, now Sophie is beginning to prove herself to Ryan, which is what she absolutely has to do, given their backstory and their history of the crows. But it's to kind of think about the fact that Luke and Mary do trust Sophie. They have had these experiences with her. Now, obviously, she can counter that with her own experiences. I'm not saying that she needs to think, oh, you know, they're happy with her. Of course not. But when it comes down to it, the fact that Mary is willing to have a drink with Sophie, is willing to talk to her, that Mary has this history with her, shows that there is more to Sophie than just the crows. And I like that that's kind of this episode. We had Sophie acknowledging that, like, yeah, I screwed up. You know, I used to think you were just the next con with a, you know, criminal girlfriend and you were nothing. And now I'm realising that you have been doing all this heroic stuff all of this time. And I'm hoping that maybe that will help Sophie to see that the black and white view of the crows, of, you know, good and bad, that a lot of the cases are just people who were born with no chances in life, with nothing, you know, who have to fight for every step of their life. And then the 1% who are given every single thing they could possibly want and still tend to commit crimes. That there is, it's not black and white, that there's a lot more leeway there, and hopefully that will help Sophie with her own journey with the crows and what it means for her to be a crow. Ryan did take a big step in letting Sophie, kind of telling Sophie she was Batwoman, but also in, I think, you know, they are at the start of building a friendship, and that is what I'm here for. I mean, I've always hoped it would get that way, but there are huge obstacles. But what I like is that they're very upfront and honest about it. And in the same way that, you know, Ryan was ultimately very honest with Mary about why she just could not trust Sophie. And then Mary was vice versa. She was honest about why she does trust Sophie. And, you know, they have a long... Sophie was Kate's girlfriend, and throughout all the last season, all the run-ins they've had, and who knows if they had many run-ins before that when Kate was away. There's just so much history there that is separate from her being a crow. You know, there were times in the last season where she protected Batwoman against the crows. That Sophie is a better crow. She's a good apple within the crows, but when the whole tree is poisoned, you need to deal with it, which is something that I do think this show is addressing, I hope, over the course of the run. And I wonder whether Jacob overdosing, now obviously he's in Mary's clinic, he's not in a public hospital, so they can cover it up, but potentially if he was to have to go on a leave of absence, would someone like Sophie be made interim head or something? Could that help her deal with it? Because it shouldn't only be on Sophie. Jacob Kane, this white rich man, should be doing stuff to fix it. He knows that there are problems, and obviously he isn't, because we have many issues with Jacob Kane. It shouldn't all be on Sophie to change the culture of the crows, of course not, but she needs to identify some other good apples and try and fix it. I don't know how, and given how many other plots there are in this show, I don't know how much of that we will see. But I really enjoyed seeing the foundation of Ryan and Sophie. They have begrudgingly worked together multiple times, both as Batwoman and Sophie, and as Ryan and Sophie, but now we are finally getting to a place where they are seeing each other for who they really are and as people. And, you know, Sophie will always have a little bit of, like, your girlfriend was a criminal and you took the fall for her, etc. And Ryan will always have, you know, you're a crow, you're part of an organisation that is very dodgy. I think the fact that neither of them shies away from those feelings they've had, especially Ryan with regards to it being a white supremacist organisation and all that, the fact that Ryan is very much vocal that she thinks that about Sophie will mean that they actually can form more of a friendship than if Ryan was pretending she was cool with everything, if that makes sense. But no, I'm really excited to see the beginning of that relationship and seeing Sophie walking around the Batcave like, oh, this is Wonderland, it's amazing. I absolutely loved that as well, and I think it's going to be a really good step going forwards that we now have Sophie fully aware of who is on Batwoman's team or where the Batcave is. You know, we have Sophie before has always been an ally, sometimes, okay, not always, but a lot of the time she's been an ally, and it's going to be really important for that. Mary, similarly, was just frustrated that these two people she cares about, these two people that she trusts implicitly, just did not trust each other, and it's coming from both sides. And while at this point Sophie was trying to kind of extend the hand to Ryan, that was only because she now knew she was Batwoman. I am very much excited to see where all of this goes forward, and I think it's going to be good for Mary to have both of them liking each other enough to sit and have a drink, even if they don't, you know, they're not best friends, maybe they never will be, but they're getting into a friendship. Now for Mary, she's realised that the one family member she's got left, as far as she knows, is doing snakebite. And the fact, I hate that she said, you know, when he closed down the clinic, he might as well have lost me too. I really hope that she's not in any way holding blame that she like pushed him to this point, because no, he was drugged against his will and then kept going. What I hate most of all is the fact that he is now overdosing and Mary is there. Mary is going to be one of the people saving him. Mary has to be dealing with the responsibility of potentially watching her last remaining family member die in front of her. I do believe Mary's going to save him, or the other doctor at the clinic. I do believe he will be saved in the clinic. Now, will they report this, because that could affect him? I hope Mary will get him into some kind of rehab or something, but we will see how Jacob responds to everything. Hopefully in the long run with Jacob, what it's going to do is show him that people make mistakes. You know, right now he could probably be sent to prison for possession of snakebite or whatever. You know, like he would go to prison for being a drug user. And clearly, you know, he was a good guy, you know, he was on the straight and narrow. I mean, okay, he was a crow, but he was not a lawbreaker. He was a law-abiding citizen who was respected and high profile, and one dose against his will, and now he's addicted. It should really show him that, again, like Sophie's kind of learning, it's not black and white in the justice system. It's not as simple as just all bad people do drugs. So I'm intrigued about how his character is going to be going forwards. Another really key moment will be if he remembers the phone call from Alice, and I'm going to get to Alice, I want to do Alice and Kate last. If he remembers that phone call from Alice, remembers that she called him for help, that she called him daddy, that she admitted she was Beth, you know, that was one of the most open conversations between them that there has been, that she could have called Mary, she could have called anyone for help. Obviously she doesn't have many allies, but maybe she could have thought, Batwoman will come and save me, although Batwoman did leave her to die actually, so maybe she wouldn't have thought that. But you know, she kind of did, that she was willing to call him, to be vulnerable with him, that she was scared and she called him and he hung up because his daughters were in front of him. How could Beth be phoning me? She's on the swing. That maybe he's realising that his mistake could have cost Alice her life, it could have cost him his daughter, it could have, you know, that was a moment that maybe he could have used to get a foothold with Alice, she still needs to go to prison, but to kind of get through to her and maybe start breaking away this mask of Alice that she wears to find Beth within. And he did not help her. I think it's going to be a very interesting thing. I hope he remembers that conversation, because otherwise it will just serve to make Alice think yet again her family was not there for her. Now, on to Alice and Kate. Still not a fan of watching Alice get tortured. Not a fan of watching anyone get tortured. Did not enjoy those scenes. Alice is a serial killer who needs to go to prison, and I personally believe needs a lot of psychiatric help to maybe see if there's Beth under there. But I hated that, obviously. It was not pleasant. And I think it's interesting that whether or not she knows Batwoman's name, because she knows the name of Ryan's mother. She knows, like, who she killed, which would imply that she therefore does know who Batwoman is, because it all makes sense. She would have been able to give them Mary's name or Luke's name. She knows people that are on the Bat team. She could have given them information, if not Ryan's name, and she didn't. Now, I like that she did her typical Alice thing of, I want to get vengeance on her, even though that hasn't been working properly. I'm still intrigued about Alice. I still want to believe that she can become a character that works, that isn't a serial killer. You know, maybe she'll become an anti-hero. Right now she is still a villain. You know, maybe there is some hope for her going forwards, and the fact that she didn't give up the name even to save herself is potentially useful, or she just didn't want to admit that she didn't know it. But like, there were people she could have given up. She could have said she knows about plenty of people on the team to save herself. She could have given up Mary. There's so many things she could have done and she didn't. What I think is, again, it shows you that Alice's resourcefulness, that she was able to get out of that chair despite her nail being ripped off, that she was able to take out Cersei, get help, try and escape. She was able to figure out who she was, that Alice is a survivor at heart. Now, she is a serial killer and I will never fully support her because of that, but she is someone that when she's in the darkest, she never gives up. She fights with everything she can, with her mind, with her fist. If she had only killed dozens of people in self-defense, I would be more supportive of her, but she just kills innocent people and I cannot support that. I need Alice to reach a point where she is repulsed and horrified that she has ever done that, and I don't know who's going to get there. If she's going to be running around free joining the Bat team or whatever, I don't know if she's joined the Bat team, but you know, kind of for her to still be walking free, I need her to at least be remorseful. But so yeah, she figured out that the girl thought she was Cersei, but I guess she was like, I definitely trampled her dead body. I think that whole thing is really interesting. She was able to use her ability to craft skin, to make faces, to get through to the father so he could have his daughter back. She wouldn't have to hide. But then the very key detail is the eye colour. Now, I don't know how he thought like his daughter could just go out into society, and I guess actually no, she's a wanted criminal, so she couldn't do that anyway. I am very intrigued that like the brainwashing they've done, I guess she would just assume she always had blue eyes. When she looked in the mirror, she wouldn't be like, my eyes are wrong. You know, if someone showed me a picture of me from my childhood or just from my past and I had brown eyes, I would be like, I have blue eyes. I have always had blue eyes. It's gonna mess with Cersei to an extent. It depends how deep the brainwashing runs. If just the simple, because you know, if someone was able to prove to me, look at this picture of you, you used to have brown eyes, I would be very confused. It would throw me for a spin, and especially with someone saying, and I definitely saw that you were dead. I wonder if maybe that's going to help Kate break free from this brainwashing, or if it's just going to simply make Cersei break away from her father and just become, I don't know, whatever crazy Cersei was like. She seemed to suggest that the guy she hurt had done bad things, so maybe she was like someone that did a brutal act in self-defense, which would maybe just mean Kate wasn't currently having the mind of a murderer. But the craziest, the best part of all for me was Alice not only having proved that her survival, she figured out who she was dealing with, she figured out something she could offer them to try and get her own survival out of it, and then you have to say, you're going to need touch-ups, so therefore you can't kill me because you're going to need me. She's brilliant at that. What I do like is that she was like, you're going to need concealer, otherwise you'll look like Mike Myers, plops the face on, and it's seamless. Oh, I love the whole concept of the faces in this show, but I'm going with it, it's fine. It doesn't necessarily fully explain why in the future Kate won't want her own face created. Like, I would, if, you know, you could, because you know with Mouse you take the faces on and off. I think I would still be like, can you not just make my real face? But Alice put that thing on, and then seeing the eyes not with a mask on them, but with a face on them, I know those eyes. Those are my eyes, my dad's eyes, my sister's eyes. I mean, obviously they're all not related, but you know, in the show they are. That was the crazy moment for me, because I was really thinking, was Alice gonna like plop the mask on, go off scot-free, and later have to reflect on the fact that Kate was right in front of her and she didn't realise it, and it was gonna, but she didn't realise it all of this time. It was only seeing her eyes that made her realise it. I am so intrigued about what Alice is gonna do next. The fact that Alice has figured out she was Kate, and the expression on Alice's face, whether she will deny it in the future or not, was one of hope that she did not want to have, of absolute like, oh my god, that's Kate, of being so relieved. And I really, really hope we're gonna see Alice fight for Kate. This was a fantastic episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version on my Patreon, and thank you for watching.